You watched Kyle Shanahan's press conference yesterday. I want to know what you think of it. Is this guy on the hot seat or what? Good morning. Welcome to the Cohn Phone. I'm Grant Cohn. Question is he on the hot seat? Kyle Shanahan. Emmanuel Acho, who's been in the news a little bit recently, made an argument that he is on the hot seat, saying basically this Nick Sorensen episode was a complete debacle, that you fired a defensive coordinator, Steve Wilks, and tried to get an improvement and went from the third fewest points allowed to the fourth most in one season. And the only reason they promoted Nick Sorensen in the first place is because they like him as a person. He's friends with Kyle Shanahan. So, I mean, no other team would have hired Nick Sorensen to be their defensive coordinator. Only the Niners would have done that. And you knew it was a shaky move when they had to hire Brandon Staley just to be like the training wheels, just in case. So the fact that you just threw away a season because you made a defensive coordinator pick that was ridiculous seems to put some pressure on him. He just had to fire two coordinators. And I think from afar, anytime you look at a team whose head coach just fires multiple coordinators in an offseason, you're thinking, geez, he's next. If there was an offensive coordinator, as Emmanuel Acho said, they would have had to fire him too. What was interesting is they just promoted Clay Kubiak to offensive coordinator, as if the offense was so great this year that someone deserved a promotion. Like, if Clay Kubiak had been the offensive coordinator all season, you could argue they should have fired him too. So things aren't great right now. And I hear people say that he shouldn't be on the hot seat because he's been to 2 Super Bowls. Other guys who've lost Super Bowls have gotten fired. I was looking through the last 10 head coaches to lose Super Bowls. What happened to him? Remember John Fox? John Fox went to the Super Bowl with Carolina, lost to Brady. Then about 10 years later, went to the Super Bowl with Denver and lost with Peyton Manning. So that's 2 Super Bowl appearances, went with 2 different franchises. Pretty impressive. Built up some really good defenses along the way. Next year, after losing the Super Bowl with Peyton, they go to the playoffs again, but they lose. And then John Elway and the Broncos decide, you know what, John, you've had a lot of success. You've been to 2 Super Bowls, but you just can't get us over the hump. So we're firing you, and we're replacing you with Gary Kubiak. And the very next season, they win a Super Bowl. So there's precedent of bold organizations making bold decisions if they feel their coach can't win a Super Bowl. And I think the Niners aren't one of those bold organizations, clearly. They want to be in the mix. Kyle Shanahan wants to be in the mix. But 6-11 isn't in the mix. They'll take 12-4 in the playoffs every year, 12-5. But 6-11, no playoffs, that's not going to cut it. So I also want to know, what do you think of this press conference? Like, when Kyle Shanahan was pressed about the season, he was like, well, I think we really should have been a playoff team this year. And you go back to the first game against Arizona, the first game against the Rams, the last game against the Seahawks. I thought we should have won those games. It's like, okay, yeah, you probably should have won those games, but you didn't. You found ways to lose them. And even if you had won them, you would have been 9-8. You still wouldn't have made the playoffs. So I don't know. Does he really think he needs to change that much, or does he just think that they were a couple of plays away from making the playoffs and they had some injuries and they couldn't get the defensive coordinator they wanted, and now they're going to get one? I mean, does he think he's on the hot seat, or does he think he's got everything under control? I don't know. I get the feeling that Jed York really likes Kyle and would like to keep him forever. But I wonder what the dad thinks. Because Kyle's a lot younger than the dad. Kyle's, he's a little rough around the edges. I wonder what someone in their 70s would think of Kyle Shanahan. Anyway, let's take some calls. Tyler, good to see you. Tyler, who's been my guest multiple times. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, man.
Good. Yeah.
What's on your mind?
Yeah. So, I mean, I kind of agree with what the co-host James Jones said. I don't think Kyle's on the hot seat now. I think his seat right now is cold. I think, the press conference actually to me, I didn't hate like John had Kyle's back on the special teams question. Like that seems like a conjoined duo.
Mhm.
But I agreed with what James Jones says. And LaShawn McCoy, I think, echo the sentiment. I don't think his seat's hot at all. I don't even think it's warm. I think it's nice and cool. But if they have another losing season this year after this big offseason that they have both mentioned, this is a big offseason. We're going to make big moves. We're going to be bold. We're going to make sure that this offseason is to get us back to where we need to be. I think if you have another losing season after this year, then yeah, I think his seat's very hot. But right now, I would say I think
so. If you say so, you're saying if he has another losing season next year, this upcoming season, he'll get fired or he'll be on notice heading into 2026.
I think it depends, right? Because I think if it's 6-11, I could see him being fired.
Okay,
especially because there are those rumors Ben Johnson might pull himself out of the race. Maybe he's waiting for a big job like this.
Yeah.
And 6-11, maybe Ben Johnson comes out next year and they're like, ooh, like, something like that. Or maybe we bring in Saleh and they like Saleh and they're like, you know what? We have someone here. I think if it's like a 10-7 and they barely miss playoffs, I think his seat will be hot. I don't think he'll be gone. But I think, yeah, if he has another season like this year, next year, I could see him being fired for sure.
It seems like the Niners front office or upper ups is trying to treat this offseason the way the Eagles treated last offseason for themselves. Like they had their down season coming off a playoff loss, a Super Bowl loss. It wasn't as bad as the Niners, but it was embarrassing. They lost all those games to end the season, kind of like the Niners.
Yeah.
And then Sirianni was kind of forced to get a bunch of new coordinators. And anytime you have to clean house like that as a head coach, I think it's kind of implied that you're next.
Yeah.
Like you can't do that anymore. You can't do the Noah's Ark start over thing. You do it once. And so it worked for Philly in the sense that they're back in the playoffs. I don't know if they're going to get to the Super Bowl this year. We'll see, but he's not on the hot seat anymore. But I think it was kind of implied that he was.
Yeah, for sure.
That's why I feel like Kyle might be on like the lukewarm seat.
Yeah.
Because I think once you have to fire multiple coordinators, I think it's implied like, better get it right this time, man. We're not doing this again next year. You don't get to fire everyone again next year. It's your ass next time.
Yeah. No, okay, so I'd agree with that. I think it's like they're putting the pot on the stove and they're about to start the burner. That's how I would kind of see it. Like, all right, we're giving you the reset.
Yep.
But as games start, because especially with, well, I want Brock here as long as I'm here. John, we want him here a long, long time. So they're getting in line to pay him, which... man, but I could tell you right now, if that front office shells out another massive contract and it ends up falling on his face like this year, there's 0% chance Jed York. I mean, he fired Harbaugh when Harbaugh had a great record with us just because they didn't get along. I could see Jed being like, dude, okay, there was no excuse this year. Like, you can't make an injury excuse. If you didn't hire the right coordinator this offseason, that's your fault. If you didn't get the players you needed this offseason, that's your fault. Like, I think at this point, it's going to be one of those things where it's like, this offseason is looked at as Kyle and John, you guys keep saying this is the standard, make it the standard. I don't want to go 6-11 when we're spending more money than we've ever spent in the history of this organization.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see who they get as their defensive coordinator because they got to get this right. I mean, like Nick Sirianni was kind of put on notice and he went out and got Vic Fangio. Like, what a way to save your job. What's Kyle going to do? Can he pull Robert Saleh out of the hat? And if not, is Jeff Ulbrich going to like put this back together? I'm skeptical.
Yeah, no, my thing is I hate that the Saleh hire is like, if he doesn't get a head coaching job. I feel like if I was John and Kyle, what I would do is I'd go to Saleh and be like, don't care what they're offering you. Like I think he's interviewed with the Raiders and the Jags. I'd be like, we will offer you head coach money. We need you to help right this ship. Like, we need you here. Or the Bengals DC I see is like a hot name for us. I don't know why, because their defense was atrocious.
I'd be so mad if I were the Yorks, though. It's like we're spending $14 million a year on the head coach, and now we got to spend like $8 million a year on the defensive coordinator because the head coach can't get it done, and he needs come on, man.
But I mean, dude, if could you imagine? My biggest worry is we wait on Saleh and we have to promote Staley. If we promote Staley, I think Kyle's fired. I think
Is
he'll
it
even read
possible
the
that the
white.
Niners have been going cheap at defensive coordinator because Kyle keeps getting extensions and raises, and I don't know.
It could be like it
They need to
could
pay
be
up.
like yeah, because they need to find their like that's what I'd pitch to Saleh. Like, I want you to be my Steve Spagnuolo. Like, I'm at Reed, you're Spagnuolo. Like, let's make a dynasty out of our coaching staff, not just our roster. Like,
Yeah.
that I think has to be your pitch, not we'll get you a head coaching job. No, I'd be like, we want to be selfish. We want you to be our Spag. And what did Andy Reid do? They paid Spag to stay, you know?
Yeah, moving Sorensen over to special teams makes me feel like special teams is going to be bad again next year, and I can't help but notice that Jake Moody's still on the roster. I don't know why, but Tyler, thanks for calling in, man.
Yeah,
Good stuff.
thanks, man. Have a good
All right,
one.
always good to see you. All right, we got Anthony. What's up, Anthony?
Hey, Grant. Aloha. Can you hear me?
Aloha. Always a pleasure to see you.
How you been, man? How you feeling? A good season? What do you think?
It was what a season it was. What do you think?
Oh, gosh. I tell you, very disappointing, obviously. At the same time, I don't think this is completely unforeseen. And I think the offense was sputtering because they had issues with CMC and making bad decisions there. But ultimately, the defense has been a problem, I think, for 2 seasons. And really, it's because their defensive tackles can't stop the run. And whether it was Wilkes the previous season or whether it was Sorensen this season, as the game's gone on, well, last season a little bit better because they had Armstead. But even so, this season, no defensive tackles. And as the game wore on, it completely obliterated the defensive line. And so they couldn't get pressure in the fourth quarter. They couldn't stop anything in the fourth quarter. And good teams with good offensive lines realized, oh, hey, we can just run up the middle on you. And so I mean, Bucky Irving in the Bucks game is a prime example. They won that game. At the same time, I'm watching this and I'm just like, there's no way this team is going to be able to actually rally and do the things that they're going to need to do to make the playoffs. So
let me give you some numbers real quick. Yep. After the bye week, this is what the Niners gave up on the ground after the bye week by week. 110 to Tampa, 94 to Seattle. Nice. 169 to Green Bay, 220 to Buffalo, 68 against Chicago. Pretty good. 142 against the Rams, 166 against Miami, 152 against Detroit, and 151 against Arizona. That was on the ground after the bye week. Like, ugh.
Yeah. Terrible. And
terrible.
And it's linked to those two things. It's the defensive tackles not being up to snuff this season, and Dre Greenlaw. When he came in for that one half, the defense reignited and they were able to make those plays. But without Dre, man, I don't know. It's to the point where, as much as I like Brock Purdy, I think the 49ers should prioritize re-signing Dre Greenlaw over Brock Purdy, just seeing the way that what he brings to the defense and the way that defense was actually really good for that half with just the addition of him. And and at the end of the day, they are still reeling from losing DeForest Buckner and trading him away. They have never found a replacement for him, and they still haven't. Now
they're looking for a replacement for Eric Armstead.
Exactly.
And I think it's pretty likely that they'll try to take a defensive tackle in round 1, and maybe they'll get a really good player. But they also drafted Kinlaw in round 1. They drafted Solomon Thomas in round 1. So I don't know about their instincts on that position.
Well, Solomon Thomas is definitely Kyle Shanahan's original sin, looking at the players that he could have drafted instead of Solomon Thomas, whether it was Patrick Mahomes or any other good player who was in that draft when you had that blue chip position. So ultimately, if and when Kyle Shanahan leaves the 49ers without a Super Bowl, it will be because he passed on Patrick Mahomes. So, I mean, Solomon Thomas was a great hope to be the next Aaron Donald, which again was chasing this idea that we should try to be like another team as opposed to trying to do what this team needs to do. And
you're trying to find the next outlier. Like, no, Aaron Donald's one of one.
Exactly. Yeah. Just because John Lynch sat next to you at Stanford, hey.
Yeah. But no, they really need to improve this run defense moving forward. And I think whoever they hire as a defensive coordinator, that needs to be something like high up in his presentation. Here's how I'm going to fix your run defense.
Yep.
And I think they need to address the wide 9 because, when Saleh first came here in 2017, they didn't run the wide 9. They implemented it in 2019 and it worked for a while. I don't think it's been effective for a while.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think the Niners would need to have a really good reason to keep it around.
I totally agree. And the reason why it worked in 19 is because they had the best defensive line I've seen in years with,
Right.
with Buckner and Armstead, et cetera, Bosa rookie year, and D Ford when his back wasn't ailing him so much. So that's the reason why the wide 9 doesn't work so well. And really, once they realize that all they have to do is quick pass, like Aaron Rodgers kept beating us, and then it's like it completely nullifies that outside pass rush that they were trying to get. And then all of a sudden you deteriorate the offensive line, you lose players. It just gets worse and worse and worse. They need a big, stout defensive tackle. They need 2 of them. And then even so, I agree. Wide 9 is yesterday's news. They got to find whoever is going to be the next Fangio and bring in the next great defense, because looking to the passes, I don't think it's going to help.
Well, what sucks is that the Niners it was reported that they had a chance to get Fangio 2 years ago,
Right.
and that he just didn't want the wide 9, and the Niners preferred to go with Steve Wilks because Wilks was willing to work with the wide 9, even though he'd never had any experience with it. So
yeah,
hard to undo these mistakes. That's a big one.
Yeah.
Really, since D'Amico's left, the Niners have been floundering at what to do at that spot.
Yep. That is so true. And again, I didn't like the hiring of Wilkes at the time. I didn't like what Wilkes did last season, especially at the ends of halves when he would give up the defense would give up these gigantic drives. Even the offense was scoring all the points, got way up, but then they would give up all those long drives. And to me, I was like, this is not, this is not how a team is going to win the Super Bowl. And ultimately, we didn't, lost in overtime. But the other thing about I wonder, just given the way everything is shaping up with when they brought in Brandon Staley, I think there might be some truth to the idea that they were always eyeing this year to pick up the new defensive coordinator, just realizing kind of the way the league was going to be shaping up, and also given the late entry point to the defensive coordinator market last season. So, and that's why they brought in Staley, right? They wanted someone who had been a successful defensive coordinator looking over Sorensen's shoulder for a year, and then they could find the actual person, whether it ends up being Staley or not.
Yeah, but my question with that, and that's their story now too. Is like, well, then why'd you fire Wilkes? If that's the best you could do, and you knew it, and it was a quote unquote late entry point, yada, yeah, fine, agree. Right. Then why not just keep Wilkes one more year?
I think Wilkes
had bad.
I think Wilkes. I don't know. You actually report and talk to players and stuff. My read was the defensive line, particularly Nick Bosa, I don't think got along well with the idea of Wilkes. Meshing the pass rush with the coverage, I think was the thing. And I think the players might not have liked him. And that's another reason why the booth. The
players didn't like him, and they liked Sorensen, and how'd that work out? So I hope the Niners learned a hard truth there, that you don't have to like your coach.
Yeah.
You don't have to like your coach. And if you fire a defensive coordinator after you just gave up 17.5 points per game and held the Chiefs to 19 in regulation, you better really make sure the next guy's even better.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally. Yeah. And once they hired Brandon Staley, that was an instant admission that the new guy wasn't better.
Right.
Anyway, totally. Anthony, thank you very much.
Take care of yourself, Grant. Aloha.
All right, aloha. Jaden, Mugs and Roses, I'd love to have you guys on the show. I just need you guys to turn on your cameras so I can see you. There's Mugs and Roses. JR16, you'll be on the show too. He's walking around his house trying to find the perfect place I can find. He's just making me dizzy right now. What's up, Mugs and Roses?
What's up, Grant? Long time no talk, man.
How you doing, man? What are you eating? Cereal?
No, just drinking coffee.
Oh, nice. There you go. Sonic and Tails?
Yeah, the OG. Nice. The OG Sonic.
Yeah, Sonic and Knuckles and Tails. That's right.
But, no, man. I mean, should they be on the hot seat? They should. I think Kyle Shanahan should have been on the hot seat a long time ago, especially with the Steve Wilkes firing, to kind of tag along with Tony. It seemed more like a scapegoat. It seemed like the players didn't like him. But here's the thing. You're never going to really like a coach because of what they want to do next. It's about players learning how to adapt. If you favor the players a lot more, there's not going to be a lot of progression. It's going to be a lot of lax play. And that's unfortunately what happened. They like Nick Sorensen, but Nick Sorensen couldn't get the job done. What breeds great work is uncomfortability. I think I said that right. Being uncomfortable makes you realize, okay, I don't know if I'm going to be here or if I have to fight for the next spot. Sorry, it's my son right here.
What's up, buddy?
He's playing with his garbage truck. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, last time I called, I think he was asleep.
Okay.
Yeah, no. The best player will be the one that plays for his spot or plays for the top spot. And unfortunately, with the Niners, there are too many players that are comfortable in their spot that are now starting to show that they don't need that top spot anymore. So the next man up. And I think the reason why the Niners were so good in 2019 is because, one, we had kind of a newer core, but two, everyone was fighting for his position. Everyone knew what to bring to the table. If you weren't doing it, it was the next man up. Now it's just kind of like, okay, well, these are our starters. Tough luck. You're not going to get it because tough luck. And a prime example of that was Kyle Shanahan pretty much getting McCaffrey back and burning him into the ground.
Oh yeah.
There's no rotation. There's nothing. If and same thing with George Kittle, same thing with Juwan Jennings. We had no wide receiver. Yeah, I get it, but at the same time, we burnt Juwan Jennings into the ground. We burnt Christian McCaffrey in the ground. We burned Jordan Mason in the ground, and then we finally did it with Isaac Grendo. My bad. It's going to continue to happen, and it's going to be this perpetual cycle of Kyle Shanahan just killing his talent because he's too afraid of moving on with the next man. And I think what I'm saying is we need a coach or at least a defensive coordinator that can kind of coerce him into doing that. Start swapping players out. Start giving more repetitions to other people. Stop giving the major workload to the main guy because you're going to hurt him. And it's going to jeopardize the entire season because the people behind him haven't gotten any snaps to really learn the offense. And my thing is, if you're going to burn anyone in the ground, do it in the Super Bowl where it really matters. If I was Christian McCaffrey, I'd say, hey, use me for every single play for as long as I can in the Super Bowl. And if I don't get the job done, use the next man, burn him out, burn the next, or burn, whoever's up behind me, because that's where it really matters. And that's unfortunately what didn't happen. We abandoned the run. And we had that whole, last quarter drive where we could have had it, and it didn't happen because Kyle abandoned it last minute. I was like, okay, Brock, now you're going to throw.
We call Mugs and Roses.
Yeah.
Go be a Pops. See you, man.
Take
Later,
care, man. Have a good night.
All right, we're going to get Josh Wyatt on here real quick. What's up, Josh?
How you been, my man?
Live from the mail truck, man. How you doing?
It ain't a milk truck, but it's good to see you, Grant.
Good to see you too, dude.
So I called in because I think the 49ers are blowing a golden opportunity right now, right in the moment, in this moment right now, because it's really hard to take accountability after a successful season, to go to players, to go to coaches, to go to people in the organization and saying, this has to change. Our philosophy has to change. We need to grow. We need to be better in all these different ways. When you just went to the NFC Championship game 3 years in a row or whatever it is, right? And I was looking to hear, I watched every minute of that press conference, looking to hear about what they identified as the things that they were contrite about, that they screwed up, that they were going to change, that they were going to make better. And, what we got were all these we had injuries and, we've been playing late into seasons and, perfect storm of blah, 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 blah. And yeah, we'll make some changes, but we're not going to change the core philosophy of who we are, which is code for more of the same, right? We want Saleh to ride in on a white steed and save our defense, and we'll be back to where we were before. Christian McCaffrey's coming back. And no, they should not hire Robert Saleh. That defense that they were running with the wide nine, where they don't rush anybody and they play back in zone coverage and wait for the other team to make a mistake, that's a decade old now, and it only works if you have the premier talent at every position and the depth to be able to sustain injuries throughout the season, and they'll never have that again. They just won't. Yeah. So, what are we doing? What are we talking about? They need to blow this thing up, come up with a new philosophy, identify who their 6 or 7 core players are and build around that and do what those players do well. And instead, it's the same old system, good body nonsense that we heard the last 4 years. Only this time, they have the opportunity with the bad record and the bad season to actually do something about it. And they're not. And I'm kind of worried that we're going down pretty hard over the next few years.
Yeah, it seems to me that if the Chiefs had a season like this, where
Oh,
they
God.
were 6-11, there would be big changes.
Not
Like,
only would
not
there
just
be,
like we're gonna fire Brian Schneider and then move our defensive coordinator over to special teams coordinator and say we're sorry and that'll never happen again. Like, they would have philosophical. They would build their team differently.
yeah, no, they would
They lost
spend
the
the off.
Super Bowl and had philosophical changes. They're like, you know what? Actually, the whole Tyreek Hill thing, that's not working. I mean, you got to respect that.
Right. But I mean, there's only one Chiefs, just like there was only one Patriots. It's really hard to replicate what a one-of-one team is doing, especially when they have the advantage that they have at the quarterback position.
But I'm just saying, like, the standard, the best organization in football would react much stronger than the 49ers, who are always quick to pat themselves in the back
Oh,
and give themselves an excuse and say, well, you know what? Let's not be too hasty.
and the reason we know that is because we went through it during the 80s and early 90s. We were here for what it looked like when a championship organization came to the realization that they needed to make philosophical changes. We saw it in 85 after they lost to the Bears. We saw it in 91. We saw it when they brought Dion. We've seen them understand that they needed to change philosophically what they do in order to go out and reconquer the NFL. And I don't see the 49ers doing that. I think that they should just be good enough, right? That it should just be good enough that they're
You heard
always
Kyle say, he's like, we've never fully sold out ever here. It's like, well, maybe if you had, you would have won a Super Bowl.
Grant, you and I have been saying that they never fully sold out for the last 5 years.
Nice to hear him say it.
Yeah, it's nice to hear him say, yeah, okay. But at the same time, like, that's an indictment, Kyle.
Yeah.
That's an indictment.
Yeah.
We want to see you sell out. We want to see you do everything in your power to make sure that you have the best chance of winning a Super Bowl.
It's like me being like, hey, man, I could run a 4-4. I just haven't really sold out yet. It's like, dude, let's see the 4-4.
Yeah, what are you waiting for, man?
What are you waiting for?
You need some new
This is
shot,
it.
dude? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, what's going on, man? No, I can really dunk. I swear I can dunk. I don't feel like it right now. I don't feel like it.
The thing that I want you to do as our ambassador to the 49ers in this offseason is watch what they are doing philosophically. What are they doing to address the fact that they should be making philosophical changes? What are they doing to admit where they're wrong and where they can go from here? And the thing I'd like to see you do with the
Real
players
quick, the first thing the only person they really scapegoated, the one fall guy who's not here anymore, is Brian Schneider. So it's like, okay, special teams is the reason we're not good. But then you're going to move Schneider over there. It's like, you're not even taking that seriously. You just fired a fall guy.
No, and really what goes on with the special teams is what goes on with the rest of the team as well. It's that we can't just be good enough at special teams. We can't not lose games at special teams. You need to bring somebody in who's going to win games with the special teams. That's what we have to do. We have to bring somebody in who's going to say, no, this is going to be a difference-making team. The special teams is going to make a difference on a weekly basis. And until you do that, you're not taking it seriously at all. You're not changing your philosophy at all. And they're not going to do that. But the thing I'd like to have you ask the players is, especially the core players like Warner and Bosa and any of the players that you get on the stage that you can have an interview, may have to wait till next year, is, dude, you've played at an incredibly high level for a long time. And how long do you foresee that you can keep that up? How long can you keep up that high level of play? Be honest with me. How long, we all know that the decline comes, and how long after when your physical skills start to diminish, when are you going to call it? Because Patrick Willis called it, Navarro Bowman called it. All these players called it way before we thought that they ever would. And, we may not have as big of a window for those core players that we thought we had. And
Patrick Willis's final season, he was 29.
Yeah. I mean, we hear that Warner's playing injured every year. He's 28 years old.
Greenlaw's going to be 28 in May.
They play a physical brand of football at a premier physical position. And how long can they keep being those guys before their bodies break down? And what is their plan to maintain that level of excellence into their 30s, into their mid-30s, to be able to keep this thing going? I would be really interested to hear not only, the coaches talking about, the vision of the future, but the players, their individual, perspectives on, where do they go from here? How long can they keep this going? What are their plans? We're at that point now.
Good call, man. Always good to see you, Josh.
Have a good one.
Here's my thing with Josh and Josh's in general. I feel like half the time they're Josh and the other half of the time they're Joshua. And I look at them like, I thought you went by Joshua. I thought you went by Josh. And I feel like they're messing with you. You know what I mean? Like you can't. Every time you have them pinned down as a Josh or a Joshua, they switch it up. And I feel like Matts and Matthews can do this too. I wish I had a name that I could kind of go back and forth. That's how I feel. I don't know. Jaden, how you doing?
What's up, bro? How you doing?
What's up? What's up?
I wasn't sure if you was able to see my webcam, but
Yeah, I can see you got a really nice red jacket on right now.
a Sherpa jacket. It's really nice.
It's a
actually,
Sherpa
yeah.
jacket. I like it.
Yes, sir. You should get one there, especially how cold it is right now. It's cold in the Bay Area.
It is.
So I got some things to go over, kind of just about like I feel like a lot of Niner fans are kind of upset over the fact that the season is 6-11, right? Yeah, I feel like they're kind of that is a big part of it, but the more important thing to me is how embarrassing the 6-11 season was, you know? Like we were doing good, and then it was either fourth quarter failure after fourth quarter failure, or just like the most inopportune mistakes that we should be making, you know?
Mhm.
And then also our defense, like past 5 years has not I don't want to say that most turnovers in the league at all, but they were up there. And this year they were not taking the ball away at all. Like I was like praying for turnovers every game. You shouldn't be praying for turnovers as a Niner fan, especially at least that's the standard for the past few years that there has been, you know.
Yeah.
So that's kind of embarrassing. The fact that we're just not playing. What's not embarrassing, I guess you could say, is our rookies. This year at least, we got a good batch of them, you know. So for the future, that's good. But I just want Niner fans and like I want to know if you agree with like that take is like it's just it's not the fact that it's a 6-11 season, it's the fact about how embarrassing the 6-11 season was.
I mean, 1-5 in the NFC West. That's about as embarrassing
Yeah.
as it gets. Jaden, thank you very
Yeah.
much. Good stuff, dude. Have a good one. JR16, you're up.
Yo, what's up, Grant?
How you doing?
Pretty good. So I just want to talk to Niner fans. Man, the Niners are so delusional. They like there's so many times where they've failed and they have a miracle. They win and it's all over. Oh, we're great. And it's dude, no, not at all. Like Kyle is so similar to Aaron Rodgers. He has his own personal things. He wants everything how he wants it.
Mm-hmm.
Or you said something to me you didn't like, boom, bottom of the list.
Yep.
Like Pearsall, look at dude. There's so many guys that are in the practice squad that are so good, probably that we won't even know about until they're in another team.
Yep.
It's this guy, and also too, when you were at a press conference at the beginning of the year, Kyle said to Lynch, or he just said it to the press. He said if Lynch got 2 first-round picks, he would probably be out of there too.
He did say that.
So
He said that he said that last year. Yep.
yeah, to me, I was like, dude, that tells me
Speak
a
it
lot.
into existence, baby.
That tells me a lot. You probably don't want to be there. You did a shitty
Because
job.
I feel like the Niners, I don't know if the Niners will ever have like the courage to actually fire Kyle Shanahan, but
No, I don't
trading
think so.
him, I mean, because firing him would be controversial at best. It might be really unpopular amongst a lot of fans, but trading him would be different.
Yeah, but the thing is, there's so many fans that can see, oh, Brock Purdy went 28 for 34. It's like, but did you see the game? Did you see what he did? Did you see how he threw it? How many completions? How he did it? Like you can throw stats around all day, but it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. He could throw 4 passes behind the line of scrimmage, and you're like, that's your $60 million QB, really? Like
And the
it
other
makes
thing
no
is, like, people will
sense.
talk about like his QBR this year or whatever. It's like, man, every time he was in a close game and he had to be clutch, he
But
blew
Grant,
it.
the QBR, Grant, the
The
QBR, Grant.
It's like, okay, but what about like moments that matter? I mean, we Joe Montana's a legend, not because anyone knows what the hell his QBR was. It's because in these critical moments, he was the best player. He came through.
Like
And
Jake Moody.
we'll say you might like Brock's story. You might think he's a great guy and that he's trying hard and he'll get there one day, but he's had moments and he hasn't come through like Joe Montana did. He's been in the Jimmy Garoppolo, Colin Kaepernick category of
I
Niners
expected
quarterbacks
him
that
this
lost.
year to be a lot better. I mean,
Yeah.
he's had a whole year to recover from his UCL, right?
Yeah.
So I just feel like Kyle puts so many players in clutch moments where he doesn't give them a chance. Like he doesn't give them the leash, right? So he kind of holds them tight, and then he puts them out. Okay, Moody, go win the game for us. It's like, bro, Moody ain't clutch. He's not that
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
And then
You don't
in the
have
Super
confidence
Bowl,
in him. No one has confidence in him. He didn't have confidence in himself.
all right, Wilkes, go save the game for us.
Yeah.
Like, bro, okay, you're fired. Like, dude, this guy does not take accountability. Dude, bro,
Okay,
Niner
fine.
fans, y'all guys need to stop going to games, stop buying merchandise. Like, you guys really want the York to do something? Stop showing up. Like, be real. Come on. Like, it's the same thing I said about Bosa and O-line. You pay one guy really good top money, you don't have money for the rest of the O-line. Might as well put me in there, dude. Like, damn.
JR, man. I love that you did the whole thing holding a pen and after taking extensive notes. We know that you've done the calculations. The results are in. I appreciate you for sharing your
Yeah.
scientific essay.
I watch your analysts every time after a game, and I'm just like, dude, it's ridiculous how many people still believe in this guy. It's insane.
Year 9, baby. Year 9. I can't wait to see what's next.
Hey,
JR.
maybe he'll
stuff.
get an extension after he goes 3-0 this year. Jesus.
You jest, but that's probably going to happen. JR, great stuff. DJ Adams, man. Good to see you.
What's going on, Grant?
What's going on, DJ?
So, there's honestly, I don't think we did bad enough this year in order for Jed to do something. In order for Jed to do something about this.
That makes sense.
I thought that 6-11 would be bad enough, and then
losing to the Bears might have done it.
Yeah, maybe.
If they had lost to the Bears, that might have done it.
Going 5-12 would have been what did it
with like
Jed.
8 in a row to lose. Yeah,
because they were gaslighting us into thinking that this team was still going to be good next year, and that Debo was still really good.
They were gaslighting themselves.
Mm-hmm, exactly. And the thing about the 49ers, like, they need to hit on this draft in order to be good next year. And they need to hit on their first round pick. I almost think that they should move back later into the first round to get another second, just because of how it's going to be a coin flip, or worse than that if this first round pick hits. Because
there's so many things they need.
Yeah, like so many offensive and defensive linemen. Probably need to draft a running back, maybe a linebacker.
Yeah.
It's
maybe a linebacker. I would think definitely a linebacker.
Yeah, maybe just in the later.
I mean,
rounds,
D. Winters is cool, but I think you need another one.
Yeah, who knows what Dre Greenlaw is going to be? Even though he did look really good, but
I don't even know if he's going to be on the team.
Could end up just being Navarro Bowman, just getting injured constantly. Yeah,
or he could be Azeez Al-Shaair on some other team balling.
Man, one of my best friends is a Titans fan, and he was when Azeez Al-Shaair was on the Titans, he was telling me, why did the 49ers get rid of him? I was like, because Dre Greenlaw and Fred Warner, I guess.
Yeah. They weren't going to pay $3, and Azeez went to the Titans and was one of the leading tacklers in the league. I mean,
he had a really good year.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
And so I still think we're going to be better next year if injuries aren't a problem. But Kyle doesn't get it. I don't think John gets it. Maybe they're seeing stuff that we don't, or that you don't. But I don't think you're missing anything, man. I see your analysis, and I'm just.
I mean, if your boss isn't going to really hold you that accountable, maybe are you really going to hold yourself accountable, or are you going to give yourself every excuse because your boss is? I don't know. DJ, good stuff, dude. Thanks for calling.
Appreciate you, Grant.
All right, man. All right. Who we got? SF Bay Drummer, man. What's going on?
Yo, Grant, what's up?
How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. Just chilling on lunch break. Man, I wish we had a different owner. I wish Jed York kind of had a little bit of the spirit of Eddie D.
Mm-hmm.
We all know that the Super Bowl next February is going to be right at home at
Mhm.
Levi Stadium.
Mhm.
And if I was Jed, I'd be talking to the NFL and make sure that we have U-Haul as a sponsor for the Super Bowl and park that U-Haul right outside the 49ers locker room. Kyle, if you blow that Super Bowl, you're out of here, man. Just pack your bags.
We already
Like
got you.
that's how
Yeah.
that's how hot I believe his seat is. Like if Kyle Shanahan blows that Super Bowl in, because I think we got an easy schedule. There's really no excuses. They already said in the press conference we plan to draft and get whoever we need to get in this building to make our team a better team. And I mean, I think we can be right back there. Kyle has, shown that if we have some talent and we're healthy enough, we can go far. But if he blows it in the Super Bowl, there's no way that he can come back. Three strikes and you're out, man. Like it's time to go. Like I'm really sick of Kyle. Like I don't like his personnel decisions. I get labeled a Kyle hater. I don't like his personnel decisions. I don't even like this money that we're about to give Brock Purdy.
Let me ask you this question
Regardless of
real
what it
quick.
is.
What we get talk about Purdy in a second, but what was a worse decision from Kyle in this past season? Making Nick Sorensen the defensive coordinator, or signing Devondre Campbell and giving him $5 million?
Making Nick Sorensen the coordinator because Brandon Staley, even though you got him late, he has experience as a coordinator. Like
Yeah.
you care too much about the players' feelings and what's good for them, dude. It's about your job too. Like you have
Yeah.
to perform and look good. It's not about them. And if they don't like it, they can get it and get gone. And you can
That's true.
get some more players who want to play for the 49ers. I mean, they would like some 100,000 and
And they're
$1
not
million
going to like
checks.
Nick Sorensen when he's giving up 47 points to Arizona. They're gonna step away and be like, "Man, I'm embarrassed.
Exactly,
We didn't
because
make
they're playing for
adjustments."
jobs. Exactly,
Exactly.
they're playing for jobs. So
Yeah.
that's horrible. And then with Purdy, like like whatever money they're going to give him, I know there's going to be a deal done, but again, we're just settling again for mid. And so, I give him 2 more years.
Because again,
I
it's
give
the Yorks.
Kyle
Like
two more
they
years.
don't have the high
You know,
standards of other owners from other franchises. They just don't.
it's
They
about
just
Super
don't.
Bowls. Like, I mean, I really think like the patience they should have had with Trey Lance, I think we would have been further along by now. And we probably would have saw a quarterback that could carry a team. Because when we had to play the Texans and we had to win that game, he won it. So, you know,
What's crazy to me is like after last year, everyone's like, it'd be nice to really see what Brock could do if he had to carry a team before paying him. And he was given the opportunity all year. He flopped week after week. And now the Niners are like,
7 times.
we love him. We're gonna give him the extension. It's like, I don't know,
Oh yeah.
maybe they're gonna lowball the hell out of him and we don't know where this is gonna go. But it seems like the Niners are once again trying to just gaslight themselves. We got the quarterback,
Yeah.
we got the coach. We're essentially the 1988 49ers, essentially. A couple plays go
Exactly.
differently. We're Super Bowl champions. He
And
literally said
that
yesterday they almost won the Super Bowl. I don't see how that's in your lexicon. Almost win.
no.
There's no such thing as almost winning because you know what? A win is a win and a loss is a loss. You could lose by 1, you could lose by 100. It doesn't really matter. You lost. You lost.
Yeah. Exactly. And I'll
You
tell
lost.
you this. This is my last thing, and I'll land my plane. They don't have a first round grade on Shadur. If for some reason he drops and drops and drops to 11, you better not let him pass by. It will be another Mahomes slash uh
They passed
what's the
on
name in
Jordan Love.
Cleveland?
They passed
Yeah,
on Jordan Love.
Jordan Love. But specifically that draft when they could have got Mahomes or
Yeah.
homeboy from Cleveland. Man, don't let it pass you by, man. Get that talent.
Good stuff, SF Bay drummer. Thank you very much.
All right.
All right, man. Dennis McCrae, just waking up, man. How you doing? I hate to think what's behind you right now. Please keep it.
It's good. I got you. It's good.
All right.
Keep it PG. We're going to keep it PG.
Yep.
First of all, I just want to say, man, I see that chain on you, man. I see the drip. I see you, man. You feel me?
You know how we do. You know how we do.
I know what time it is. Bro. I'm done with Kyle, bro. I'm not even talking about Kyle. I don't have nothing to say about him. Like, for me, like it's like already written with Kyle. He's not gonna make any changes. He's not gonna learn. I don't care how much extra time they have in the off season. He's not gonna make any changes. You know what I'm saying? He's not. I just hopped on just to say, bro, I love you, bro. I love how you be getting on this top. You feel me? I love it, bro. You feel me? And then the crazy part about it is I watch all of your takes after the game and everything, and what you say, the analysts after the game and how it goes, and then all that type of shit. But the funniest part to me is when you say what you say, and then I'll be like, damn, how the hell did he be in the press box? And I know Kyle sees what you say about him, and then you ask him a question, and as soon as I hear you ask him a question and I see him look at you, and I can just see the look on his face, and he's like, this motherfucker right here, like, bro.
It's almost like he watches my videos or something.
Bro, stay on his top, bro. Kyle, no, he's not accountable to nobody. Him and Jed are BFFs. Jed's not gonna put him accountable. You know what I mean? And
Dennis, you're not wearing any clothes right now.
No, I'm good, bro. I'm good. Trust me, I'm good.
All right.
I'm good. No, but
we're all trusting you.
Other thing I wanted, I ain't gonna get on here and do you like that, bro. You feel me? The other thing I wanted to say was, I would not pay Brock Purdy 55, 60 million. He's not worth it. He is not worth paying more than Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. He ain't that dude. He ain't it. He ain't it. I probably would offer him like 30, 35 million a year. And if you don't want to take that, cool. He's got one more year on as far as right?
Yeah. Yeah. Bet on yourself, kid. Bet on yourself. Stay in school.
That part.
Yeah.
And the other thing I wanted to say was, Jed, if you got any sense, bro, the Super Bowl is in our stadium the next year. You need to go all balls to the walls with everything for this season, like the Rams did that one year when they put it all on the line and they spared no cost, and they got their Super Bowl and all that. That's what we need to do. And if Jed has any kind of brains in his head, he would, spare no expense. He would get Saleh or whoever the good a good defensive coordinator is for our team. He would spare no expense as far as getting the offensive line to protect Brock Purdy, because obviously we're gonna pay him. There's no, you know what I mean? They're not gonna make any other moves but to pay him. But get him an O-line, get a good defensive coordinator, get us some speed at wide receiver, pay Dre Greenlaw, like, go in, bro. If the Super Bowl is in your freaking stadium in 2026, go in. Like, come on, bro. Like, I'm done. I've been a Niner fan since Montana, bro, and I'm just over it now. I just watch him just so I can see what you say at the end. You know what I'm saying? So
they're cooking you in the chat right now, Dennis.
Keep doing what you're doing. Stay on Kyle's top. You feel me? Get on him, bro. I love it. I'll be over here dying, bro, when you be saying what you're saying, and then I see you asking questions. I'll be like, Grant is a fool. He's a fool.
Appreciate you, Dennis.
All good.
Have a good one, man.
All
Later.
Good.
That was so close, man. Damn, Dennis. I appreciate you, dude. Oh, man. All right, again, this episode of the Cohn Phone is brought to you by Sleeper app. Download the Sleeper app today. Use promo code COHN, Cohn. Get entered to win this signed George Kittle jersey right there. Just gave away the Ricky Pierce. I gave away the Ricky Pearsall jersey like a week before he started balling. I'm an idiot. But at least George Kittle's really good. Keith Murphy, the unbeaten. Are you still unbeaten?
I'm still unbeaten.
That's what I'm talking about.
What's up, man? How you been?
Good, dude. How you doing?
All right. So how hot is Kyle's seat right now?
I would say it's like getting preheated. You know what I mean? It's like 240. You know?
Yes. It's not the 400 yet.
It's not the 400 yet, but you can definitely feel a little something.
So I don't know. I'm one of those that I like Kyle a lot because I compare him, I guess, to Tom Sula and Chip Kelly and those guys we had before. And we could go fire him and get better, but we could also fire him and get much worse. So I look at it through both lenses. You know what I mean?
That's true.
And so, yeah, there's some things that annoy me about Kyle, but I still think his seat he's good. I mean, this is how you know. When we fired Chip Kelly and Tom Sula, how many teams were knocking at their door?
None.
If we fire Kyle today, how many teams would be on his phone?
A lot. And that's why I don't think they will fire him. But
Right.
a trade is something that could happen.
Well,
Because like,
we
don't just
just
let
did-
him leave. Like he wasted all those picks on Trey Lance. Get some of those picks back.
That's right. Well, we can see exactly what happens if you don't trade and get it wrong. Look at New Orleans. I know he forced their hand, but they traded Sean Payton, right? And
Yeah.
look at Denver. Look at Denver now,
Mhm.
with a depleted salary cap, still paying Russell Wilson and a rookie quarterback in the playoffs. And what are the New Orleans Saints?
Not good. Looking for a coach.
Looking for a coach.
Yeah.
So you think they think that was smart that they traded him? I guess he quit on them.
Yeah, he quit.
Circumstances a little different, but
I do think Sean Payton's a better coach than Kyle.
I don't think you're wrong about that because he has hardware and Kyle doesn't. But he wasted a lot of Drew Brees prime years too. A lot of 5,000 yards, 6 and 10, 7 and 9 seasons out there in New Orleans.
Hey, now he never had a 10-loss season, but he did have some 9-loss seasons. I don't know why I know that either. I've been hard on Kyle. I've been looking to see all the people that had 10-loss seasons. He never had one, but he had a bunch of 9-loss seasons.
Yes,
3 in a row.
and a bunch of 9-loss seasons with Drew Brees in his prime.
That's true. Yeah,
and so
that
it's
is true.
like
It's hard to
I don't
fathom.
know if Kyle had that caliber of a quarterback if he would do that.
Well, some people tell me that Brock Purdy's Joe Montana, Drew Brees, and Lamar Jackson all rolled into one.
When he is not
Better than Patrick Mahomes. Yeah.
Right. And so we'll see. Just I don't want to be too pessimistic on Kyle, and I kind of just want to keep it even. But also, people know I've heard a bunch of people say yes, he could have run his course. And what can happen in Philly with Andy Reid? You get rid of Andy Reid and you win a Super Bowl, but they still are having very big questions on Nick Sirianni. Even though they're in a good position this year, how they ended last year. So I'm just gonna say I don't think we should look at it like Kyle can be easily replaced. We should be methodical in who we pick next. Like to your point, if we could get Ben Johnson or somebody
that's what I
like
was
a
going to
hot
ask you.
name,
That's what I was going to ask you. Yeah.
that might be a good look. But there's not a lot of coaches that at that caliber that you can just say, "Oh, we're going
And
to."
if you can't get Ben Johnson, and if you're going and getting, you get Robert Saleh.
No, but we haven't seen Saleh with the functional organization because the Jets are not that. So
it's true.
We'll
Keith,
see. Or I'm gonna let you go. You know what? Because guess what? Other fan base is frustrated with their high caliber coach, the Pittsburgh Steelers. I would take that.
How about Kyle for Tomlin straight up?
I would do that.
Kyle for Tomlin straight up. Tomlin could fix the culture over here. Kyle could teach the Steelers about modern NFL offense. What do you think?
Bingo.
I love it.
All right, man.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah.
Great call.
Yeah.
Later. I also kind of feel like Tomlin needs to leave Pittsburgh. I think it's not going to work there with him. I don't know. We got a legend. What's up?
Hey,
What's up,
Grant,
Sardal?
how you doing? How you doing this? How you doing today?
I'm having a great Thursday morning, man. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great. I love calling into your show always.
I always hope that you call in, and I'm always extremely pleased when you do. What's on your mind?
I'm a diehard 49er fan, and I don't think Kyle Shanahan should be placed on the hot seat. He's my coach, and I was gonna stand up for him as much as I can. And it doesn't matter what anybody says about him that they don't want him to be placed on the hot seat. Don't say that about my coach. This is my coach, and I'm gonna stick with my coach. So I'm gonna ride with Kyle Shanahan. I'm gonna die with Kyle Shanahan.
That's your coach.
I don't like what people say about him.
He doesn't like it.
He's not like, you can't disrespect my coach like that.
Yeah, that's Sardal's coach, man. You
Like, why are
talking
you
about
disrespecting Kyle Shanahan, man? Like, I love this guy, man. He's a great coach, and you can say whatever you want to say about him. Keep your opinions to yourself. Don't say that about Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, if you
In
come
front
for
of
Kyle,
my
you're coming for Sardal.
when I'm here, don't say those things about him.
That's
when
right.
when I'm gone, you can say whatever you want to say. When I'm here, don't say those things.
I feel it, man. I feel you, dude.
Please do not
'Cause it
say
upsets
those
you.
things.
Yeah,
It upsets me when people say that about him.
yeah. I
It
respect
hurts
you.
me. It
Sometimes
hurts me.
hurts him.
It hurts me when people say Kyle Shanahan should be placed on the hot seat.
Well, I think Kyle definitely appreciates your support.
And I'll stand up for him always.
I know you
I'll
will.
give
You
him
have for a
all
long time.
all the love and support.
All the love and support. Anything else you want to say?
How often do you go live on your channel? How often do these do these shows?
Just about every day. The call-in shows, I don't know, every few weeks.
I mean, I mean, every time I call in, I see people in the live chat saying that he's a legend. Whenever I look in the live chat and I see people flooding up the live chat.
You're the legend, Shardal.
But yeah, but it was great calling into your show. I hope I mean the 49ers are playing the Super Bowl in Levi's in 2026. I hope they can make some good moves. I think Brock Purdy should get signed an extension.
Yeah.
I love Brock Purdy.
You like Brock Purdy too?
Yeah, I love Brock
That's your
Purdy.
quarterback?
That's my quarterback.
That's my quarterback. Who you like more?
Brock Purdy's
Brock
my
or Kyle?
quarterback. Debo Samuel's my wide receiver. That's my guy. Debo Samuel's my guy.
Debo too?
Yeah, Debo.
Okay. If there's one player on this team who's definitely not your guy, who would it be?
Devondre Campbell.
Oh, that was an easy one.
That's not
Fair
my
enough.
guy. That's
your
not my guy.
It's not
I don't like
anyone's
that guy. He stormed off the field and left, quitting on his teammates. You don't quit on your teammates.
You don't do it. You wouldn't have done it
Yeah, I'm never buying a Campbell jersey.
ever.
Ever. I'm good. If I buy that jersey, I'm gonna burn it.
Ooh, you hear that, Devondre?
I'm gonna
Shardal
burn
wasn't
that
pleased.
jersey.
Not
I'm gonna
amused.
burn it. I'm gonna burn it.
Right.
I'm gonna put it in the fire and burn it.
Well, you know what?
Light
Be
a
careful
match
with
and
that
burn
though,
it.
because we got some fire issues in California right now. Be careful, Shardal. And you know what? He's not on the team anymore, so they handle that. Just wanted
But
you to know
yeah,
that.
but I went to the 49ers and Rams game in the past. That was the worst game I ever went to because we lost and it was raining so hard that day.
You were there?
I was there at the game.
Wow. How come you didn't say what's up?
I don't know. I didn't call. I didn't call in. But yeah,
Sorry.
it was raining really bad that day. But
That's true. It was
But a good thing it stopped. Like
I'll let
halfway
it
through the
slide
game, it stopped.
this
So
time.
I'm happy about that.
All right, Shardal. I
Yeah,
gotta take
Grant.
some more
Thanks.
calls, man.
It's great. It's great calling to your show, and I'll definitely call in next time.
All right, take care. Always love to have you.
I want you to make sure to get to your other callers because I think you have other callers that want to call into the show.
I do, but you were terrific, man. Thank you.
Thanks, man. I hope you have a great day.
Shardal always comes in and says like, he doesn't like people talking about his coach, and I always feel like, I hope he's not talking about me. But he always is nice to me. So I wonder if he knows the things that I say about Kyle. Hopefully not. Don't tell him. Oh wait, hold on. There he is. What Amin? Where'd you go? Amin, where'd you go? Where'd you go? Barry Kev.
Yo, what's up, Grant?
How you doing, man?
Bro, that is the most difficult call to follow up after.
Yeah,
I
you
could
got big
never have
shoes to fill
imagined,
right
bro.
now. Yeah.
Bro, is that like a character? Or, no,
No,
no disrespect,
that's
man.
Shardal. That's
He's
Shardal.
all right. Respect to
Yeah.
him, man.
Yep.
First of all, shalom. You know what I'm saying?
Shalom.
Wanted to extend the heartiest of shaloms to you, brother.
The hardiest.
The heartiest. So I wanted to say something about I saw a few live streams ago you were talking about or maybe it was on Twitter, you were talking about young 49er fans and how we probably don't want Shanahan to leave because he's like the only coach we've ever known or something like that. You remember saying that?
How young are you?
I'm 26.
Or I guess you.
So I'm
I
like
guess
somewhat
you.
young.
You're under the umbrella. I'll put you under the umbrella of young
All
49er
right,
fans.
cool.
Yes.
I appreciate
Yeah.
that, man. I'm fighting these old allegations every day at work with these 18-year-olds, bro. I promise you. I promise you.
Okay.
But like I'm gonna put it to you like this, man. It's tough being somebody who was like born after, the young years in the 90s and all that, because like, my uncles, my grandparents, all that, my whole life, it's just like, man, this is the Niners. We were a dynasty. Da, da, da. All I've seen my entire life is them lose, bro. That's literally been my entire life. So in my mind, I'm like, I pretty much already accepted that under Shanahan, like we're not gonna get there.
Mhm.
The fact that we went from losing by like 10 plus points in regulation in the Super Bowl to 5 years later losing in overtime, and we're supposed to treat that like some kind of moral victory or something. Like I don't get it.
They almost won.
Yeah, almost, man,
They
almost,
almost. Yeah.
almost.
Yeah.
But I mean, to be honest with you, I feel like with the whole Purdy contract situation, full disclosure, I was away from home most of last season and the previous season, so I missed a lot of his starts. But luckily, I was home to watch this entire season,
Mm.
and it's been honestly top 10 disappointments in my life, bro. If I'm being honest with you, like I mean, we're kind of even if they make him play out the last year of his contract, if CMC and IU come back, and then all of a sudden he has a year like 2023, then you're really stuck paying him top of the market money for the most part, right? And assuming we have yet another losing season and we get the win, like, oh man, we finally get Kyle out of here, see a change because we got a losing season. Now you're going to have a new head coach with a way overpaid quarterback and an
Mm.
old roster. So now you just shorten the window even more than it's already been shortened. And that's why I feel like this really would have been the year for ownership to put their foot down and take.
Bay Area Kev, you still there? I bet he got a phone call. Going once, going twice. That was a good call, though. I bet he got a phone call. All right, who's next? It's going to be Dominic. What's up?
How's it going, Grant?
Good, how are you?
Pissed off, Grant.
What? Tell me.
I just don't understand how there is a coach in this league who's done so much wrong over these. Like, I agree 100% with what the last caller was saying. I've seen nothing but Niners losses throughout my whole life. And for us to get back to the Super Bowl, lose it again because of a coach who is not able to overcome his own he won't take
Himself?
accountability. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Take accountability. So what gives me any hope that we're going to improve next year? We're pushing our Super Bowl window out of just not even down the line, just out. We're not going to make the playoffs next year. As long as Kyle's his coach, we're never going to win a Super Bowl under him. I just don't understand the fans that are still like so hard riding his wave of past achievements. Like, how do you like this season? What has he done to prove to you that we're going to be okay next year?
I've never seen a coach in any league get so much support before winning a Super Bowl. I've never seen it.
Fans are okay with second place through fourth place. We didn't even get to the playoffs this year, and they're still okay with the coach that can't win.
Yeah.
He choked. He's what was your stat? 0-44, and when he's down 8 points.
Yeah.
How does that give me any hope, expectation for? Yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of these fans need to look at themselves in the mirror so that we can get a culture change in San Francisco. Because I agree, if we were in the East Coast, he would have been gone 2 years ago.
Yeah, agree. Good stuff, Dominic.
Thank you.
What's up?
What's up, Grant?
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good, Grant. Can we just like debunk all these excuses that we've given Kyle Shanahan this year when it comes to like people saying, "Oh, it was injuries," or we didn't have Christian McCaffrey, and it's like, in all honesty, yeah, we have injuries this year. I think there was like 18 players on the IR, which was like second in the league. So like I understand that argument to a certain extent. But there were also games and times this year, like in the beginning of the year, where the team was pretty much healthy, and like games like the Rams game, for example, right? Like we lost the Rams week 2. Like the Rams were more banged up than we were. Nobody's out here making the excuse for the Rams. The Rams still made the playoffs. But when it comes
Yeah.
to Kyle, it's like, oh, Kyle, we had injuries, and that's why Kyle wasn't able to, make the playoffs. And it's like that's all really, and in all honesty, that's all nonsense because I understand the injury argument, but to still come in last in the NFC West, which is like the most mediocre division, honestly, in the entire NFC. Like under no excuse, like you still had Brock Purdy for the majority of the season. Like you still had Jordan Mason, who was serviceable, but you decided not to use him at all when Christian McCaffrey came back. Like there's certain things that Kyle did this year that you can't defend, regardless of injuries. Like not using Jordan Mason, even when Christian McCaffrey was back, when there would be times in the game where Jordan Mason would get in the game and he would have like a 16-yard run, and then you wouldn't see him at all. And you're like, Kyle, Christian McCaffrey is going for like 2 yards per carry, and he just came off injury. And then Jordan Mason's, you're getting the running game going with Jordan Mason on that one run. You pick up a first down, and you never see him again after that. Like there's things like that that's just unexcusable.
Yeah.
That's on coaching. But my main point, Grant, that I wanted to come on and say is that people make the argument of, oh, but if we fire Kyle Shanahan, another team will go and pick him up. And people love to make the comparison between Andy Reid and Kyle Shanahan. That's like a comparison. Andy Reid, two great offensive minds, both had playoff success, but couldn't, finish it in the Super Bowl. But when you think
Mhm.
about the Andy Reid and Kyle Shanahan, don't you think there was some Philadelphia fans when they were going to fire Andy Reid that probably said the same thing the Niners fans are saying now, that, oh, Kyle Shanahan's so great. If we fire him, there's going to be teams jumping to go and get, Kyle
Mhm.
Shanahan. Andy Reid, the first year he got fired, he went to Kansas City. His quarterback was Alex Smith. Similar, Brock Purdy, good processor, makes good decisions. Andy Reid went to the Chiefs his first season, 2013, and he blew a 28-point lead to the Colts in the playoffs.
Yes, he did.
And who did Andy Reid beat in the Super Bowl? His 3 Super Bowl victories, one came with Patrick, like 3 of them came with Patrick freaking Mahomes, who's ridiculous. But who did he beat twice in the Super Bowl? Twice
Kyle.
he beat in the Super Bowl, Kyle. The one
Kyle.
guy
The other
that you
time
could
was
make the
Sirianni.
argument, yeah, the one time you could make the argument with Kyle is like he's arguably a bigger choker than Andy Reid. He's like the one guy that's a bigger
Yeah.
choker than Andy Reid. Right? So it's like I'm not saying Andy Reid's not a good coach. No disrespect to Andy Reid, but all I'm saying is that to overcome a coach like an Andy Reid or a Kyle Shanahan, you
You need a
need
bigger
someone like
Kyle
a
Shanahan.
Patrick Mahomes. You need not even a bigger Kyle Shanahan, but you need like a Patrick Mahomes, a Josh Allen, someone who can make off-script plays, someone who,
Yeah.
even if your scheme isn't 100%, that can overcome that.
Yeah.
When Andy Reid had Alex Smith, he kept blowing playoff games. He blew another playoff game in like 2016, 2015 to the Titans. He blew another 20-point lead with Alex Smith. Like to overcome a Kyle Shanahan type coach, you need a quarterback like a Josh Allen or a Patrick Mahomes. And I'm not saying don't re-sign Brock Purdy. I think they will end up re-signing Brock Purdy. But I just hope it's not to like a 5-year extension and he's getting paid $60 million. If you're re-signing Brock, pay him a Baker contract. Give him the Baker contract, even if it's a little bit more. Give him the Baker contract, even though I'm not on board with re-signing Purdy, but that's what the front office will do regardless. But yeah, the whole argument of like, oh, if we fire Kyle Shanahan, another team will pick him up. So be it. Let him go on the Bears. Let Bears fans have Kyle Shanahan. Like, see how good he does with the Bears. He might make it to the playoffs, but he's gonna choke.
Yeah. Go enjoy the Kyle Shanahan experience. I mean, great stuff.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Grant.
All right, man. Later, man. That was a really good call. Always love Amin. Zach Rivero, miss next playoffs and or choke another Super Bowl 100%. Juan Carlos Montano says Grantavius the GOAT. Pizza Diaper says no more wide 9. Mobile quarterbacks shred this scheme. Sir Molly Mall. Molly Mall says trade proposal. Kyle equals 2 1s. Ricky Pearsall equals 2nd round pick. CMC equals DJ Moore. Debo and Juice equals DeAndre Swift. Okay. That's definitely a trade proposal. 9 to Ryan. You're muted. There you
I
go.
was muted. I know.
How you doing?
Good, man. How about yourself?
I'm pretty good, man. What's going on?
Long time listener, first time calling in. Good to chat
Thanks
with
for
you.
calling.
Got a few things on my mind here. Just one, obviously, about Purdy. I'm not a huge fan of his arm strength. I think that that's his biggest limitation. I am also on the other fence where it's like, hey, who else would we have, right? It's like next year is pretty much our last year to win a Super Bowl. Would you agree?
I mean, I'm not even sure that the window's still open, but sure.
Christian McCaffrey, he's pushing 30. Kittle, Debo, how much treads left on that tires, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, I really think next year is our last real chance to win a Super Bowl. And, I think if we have the same season that we do next year, they'll probably replace Kyle. And then it's like, a first-year head coach winning the Super Bowl. It's like, is that really going to happen? And then it's like, are we going to win a Super Bowl with Christian McCaffrey as 33 years old? These guys pushing 30. So it's like Trent Williams as well. So I really think next year's our last chance to really win the Super Bowl. So I'm kind of all in on Brock. It's like I'd rather not pay him $60 million, but what do we really do there?
Yeah. Well, they could draft a quarterback this year. They could go get a quarterback. You're right. I mean, it seems like this is the most. It's just his season was so disconcerting. The way he played at the end of close games was alarming. The way he played in that do or die game against the Rams was just pretty bad.
A little more arm strength, and I think that we'd probably be in the playoffs, right?
Yeah. And I think what's kind of scary too is like we all agree that he's better than Jimmy, but you can't deny that his career arc has been like freaking identical to Jimmy's. And like we know what happened to Jimmy. So you could pay him all this money, but that's not necessarily going to change where the story's going.
Yeah. And like late in the games, can they actually, get it over the line like a Mahomes, a Josh Allen, where it's like these guys are like dialed in. They're like, I will do anything it takes to win this football game. And I just didn't see him. I just didn't see that from Brock in the Super Bowl. So that's a little bit concerning as well. But I think with his confidence, he can get going. I actually have a proposition for you.
Sure.
I think that, it's no stranger that Kyle doesn't really like you. And
Allegedly, I don't know. He hasn't said it to my face.
I mean, it's pretty obvious, but I think if next year's our best chance to win a Super Bowl, I think you should try to get along with him. I think that, if there's even a percentage that he's worrying about you and not the Super Bowl, I think he's like, you got to give him a year off. Just try giving him a year off and see if we win, because if not, that's fine. But I don't want there to be a percentage in his head that he's worrying about Grant Cohn or external factors. I think that that's something to think about. But I've been a diehard Niners fan, and it's been brutal watching us lose these Super Bowls. And I hate to think that there's a reason in his head where he's like, man, Grant's going to rip me, or someone's going to rip me, or someone's going to say something. So that's my proposition for you. What do you think?
I'll talk to him about it at the owners' meetings in a couple months. See what he says.
Okay,
All right,
at a conference, cocktail hour.
Yeah, they have one of those like every year for the owners and the play and the coaches. It's cool. Last year he didn't show up, but Saleh was there. Harbaugh was there.
Just have a 30-second one-on-one heart-to-heart to be like, hey, man, sorry for the past. I'm all in on you. Let's get this thing done next year, whatever you need from me, and maybe try not to grill him every time when he comes off a win.
All right, Ryan, have a good one. I don't know that I can say I'm all in on you, but we'll see what I can do. Ezio Sanchez says, do a straight-up trade for Mike Tomlin besides nepotism CEO, who says no. Both coaches need to change of scenery. Won't happen, LOL.
Yo, what's good, Grant?
What's up, Nias? How you doing?
Remember last time I talked to you? I told you about Brock Purdy. He's not a franchise QB. But we got to talk trade talks because I got two things.
Okay.
We can't let Kyle got scapegoated the last 2 years. He's fired Steve Wilkes. Now he's blaming it on Sorensen. Now the special teams. This has to stop. Like, if we're being honest, if we have another losing season and they don't fire him, I don't know how the Kyle Shanahan stands can't turn their back. We can't have this. You fired the DC, the special teams. You got to be next. And I mean, I want Ben Johnson, but I don't know if we're going to be able to get him because we're already paying so much to the players that I don't know if we're going to be able to pay another head coach. But what do you think about trading the 11th pick and Brock Purdy to get either Shador or Cam Ward? Experienced QBs, big arms. Because you seen that pass to Purdy. He didn't even layer the ball. That would have been an easy touchdown. 10 yards underthrown. That was terrible.
I'll do it for Cam.
Yes, for sure.
I do it for Cam. I like that. They got to do something bold to get a serious quarterback. I'm sorry to say that Brock isn't a serious quarterback, but
if we really want to win the Super Bowl, we have to get a serious QB because we can beat up on the NFC teams because the only real, probably franchise QB is Jaden Daniels. If I'm being honest.
And we saw what Brock can do on a loaded team. He almost won a Super Bowl, to use Kyle Shanahan's phrase. And then we saw what he could do on a not so loaded team. He couldn't lead them to any victories in close games. So I don't know what the Niners are expecting.
Did you see the Lions game? He threw 2 picks, literally looking dead at the safety.
Yeah.
That's not a professional QB. That's not a $50 million QB. I'm sorry to anybody who's a Purdy fan. I did like Purdy. He is a good QB, but we're talking about Dak Prescott. Have you seen the Cowboys once they paid Dak?
I did.
They didn't even win up. They went 1-8 at home. Do we really want that to be our franchise? Look what Tua Tagovailoa. This man Purdy just has another elbow injury. How many injuries is this man going to have? And then we're going to pay him $50 million. We just made the mistake with Christian McCaffrey. Paid him $19 million when he had Achilles tendonitis. Only had him 3 games this year. Kyle Shanahan didn't even run Jordan Mason when he was the NFL rushing leader. Let me know. The NFL rushing leader couldn't get 5 carries.
Yeah.
Once CMC came in, he couldn't get 5.
Yeah, that's a fact.
We're getting what I remember vividly when he was talking about how CMC in the locker room was looking head down, he didn't believe. You're ruining his confidence.
Yeah.
How do you're supposed to bring somebody back like he's not even in football shape. Like
Yeah,
I
it's
really
true.
don't know. But what
Aeneas,
do you think? Like who do you think we should get for the 11 pick? Because they're probably not going to trade up. They're probably just going to pay Purdy, keep Kyle, and then
they're gonna
Purdy's probably
reach
going
for
to get
some
injured.
for the next McGlinchey or the next Kinlaw. That's my prediction.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of the DNs from Georgia or Penn
They're
State.
gonna take a D tackle to replace Hargrave, just like they took Kinlaw to replace Buckner.
Yeah, but if I was them, you gotta go O line. You gotta get the center out of there. This man, he doesn't call the right protections. We saw
No.
in the Super Bowl, we saw it against the Lions. Blitzing, everybody has a free rusher against us. Like, why can't our QB just call out the protection? That's common football knowledge. If anybody's
I
ever
know.
played football, the QB is supposed to protect himself. It's not supposed to be the center. The center can only see to the defensive end. He can't see the outside linebackers. He can't see the corners
Yep.
that are blitzing. And that's
Yep.
what all the NFL schemes run.
Yep. I agree. It's about time the
Right.
Niners update their shit, man. Aeneas, good call.
Good call. Thanks. Have a blessed
Thanks,
day.
man. Appreciate you. Some of these calls have been making me nervous, man. Was he in the bathroom or not? Was Dennis McCray naked or not? I just don't know anymore. Jay Bird, what's up?
What's up?
How you doing, man?
Hey, bro,
What
you
you got
see I
there?
got the ball.
Yeah, so a couple of weeks ago. All right, tell a story.
Yes, literally Thursday night game against the Rams. I was at the game and I was thinking, like, what if I see Grant? Like, maybe I see Grant. Because I watch the show like every day, every week. And little did I know, I actually saw you walking down the tunnel. I was the first dude to notice you. I was yelling the name, Grant. And I had the ball. I don't even think anybody signed the ball yet. You were like the first person, I think. And I was like, you want to sign the ball?
That was hella funny. So I went back up to the press box, and Matt Mayoka came over to me. He's like, "Man, the funniest thing just happened, man. Some guy asked me to sign his ball, and I was like,
Yep.
no, I can't do that." He was like, "But Grant Cohn did." Yeah, right.
Yeah, that was so crazy. I was really surprised. And then I saw Matt. I told him to. He was like, oh, my gosh. But, yeah, I didn't even really have a lot to say. I just wanted to talk about that moment. I thought that was funny. I had to get the ball.
Hell yeah.
To show you. I got like
That was the
E40.
Rams game. That's right. It was a night game. That's true.
It was the worst game I could have chose. Literally.
Well, that was a good
You saw
moment,
where I
though.
was sitting, too. I was expecting to see touchdowns.
Great seats. Were those expensive?
Actually, they actually weren't. It was, I think, $350 each. It was just me and my dad. But I got them in the
Interesting.
summer.
Oh, okay.
So
All
we
right.
had planned ahead of time. But, yeah.
I feel it.
But it was really
All right,
cool.
Jay. Yeah, good to see you, man. Thanks
All
for
right, see you.
calling in, man. I'll see you next time.
Yep.
All right, later. Okay, we got Michael, Andy. What's up, Michael?
What's up? Can you hear me?
Yeah, absolutely. How you doing?
Hey, what's up, man? I've been watching your channel for a little while now, and I respect it because you show a lot of honesty that a lot of people need to hear about when it comes to this team. And I think we're around the same age. I'm 35. You're a little bit older, right?
Yeah, I'm turning 37 next week.
Yeah, so we both have seen a lot of success, right, with the team.
Mhm.
Steve Young and everything, and that's kind of why I became a fan and whatnot. But according to your topic, when it comes to if Kyle Shanahan is on a hot seat or whatnot, and I don't think he is, but I think he should be. And I correlate it a lot because my brother lives in Detroit now. He's a Lions fan, and I kind of compare those teams a lot, and they both don't really have any good defense, right? Yet the Lions, they still score a lot of points. They score around 40 a game, around or high 30s. And the Niners don't do that. So who do you usually would want to blame towards that? And I'm thinking it's probably, Kyle Shanahan, of course, because he calls all those plays. He's in charge of the offense. So I just wanted to say that I agree with what you're saying. And I'm glad that you're putting pressure on him because he feels safe right now. And I think because
Does seem pretty comfortable, right?
Yeah, and I feel like he doesn't want to try as much as what he probably used to. And he kind of puts a lot of blame on players and stuff like that. So, yeah. Just wanted to say respect that. I don't want to take a whole bunch of your time, but
I appreciate it,
I
man.
appreciate your content.
Where are you calling from?
So, I'm in Georgia now, but I used to live in LA for like 28 years. So
cool. All right, man. Well, thanks for calling in, Michael.
For sure. Have a good one.
All right, later. Andy, you're muted somehow. Leave and come back in. Sometimes it's a StreamYard thing. It's all right. I'll get you back in. Chef Tommy Huxley.
Hey, what's up?
What's going on, man? It's been a while.
It's been a while. I don't even remember last time.
Chef Tommy, man. What's on your mind?
Remember, I'm going to get one thing out. Remember when I said I called in once and I said Kyle Pitts is overhyped?
Kyle Pitts?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
That's right. I don't
There you
even
go.
know I don't even know what to talk about right now. This season has been an absolute disaster. I think people are thinking if he's not in the hot seat, I guarantee you he's on the hot seat because if he doesn't make the playoffs next year, he's done. They're definitely going to fire his ass because this is the absolute worst play calling I've ever seen from Kyle Shanahan. I mean, giving up on the run, 16 straight passes. It's just
He
terrible.
was so bad this season. It was
God,
remarkable.
how?
He was awful.
How are you that
Where did it come from? He had been good. He had been so good. What happened?
There's no excuse. I mean, I don't care about your O line. The O line cannot pass the run block, so there's the bread and butter down the toilet. And Brock Purdy, he can't function without play action, and so there's no play action, nothing. Jake Brendel is awful. He shouldn't even be a starter. I don't even think he should be a backup. I mean, maybe a backup, maybe third string. He's so soft.
Third string kicker.
I don't want to talk about people personally. He's probably a great guy, but he can't play center. He's not a good football player. Banks has regressed. So basically, to piggyback off that, the trenches. I don't know how they let it get out of hand. They're getting their ass beat up front and beat both lines. The games are won in the trenches. So if they don't fix that, they're toast.
It's true. Chef Tommy, thanks for calling in. I got to wrap up soon. Sorry to
Good seeing
It's
you.
always good to
It's
see
been
you,
a
man.
while.
Have a good one. Later. Andy, you're back.
Hey, how's it going? Can you hear me?
Hey, yeah, definitely. It was StreamYard. Yeah.
Nice to meet you, Grant.
Nice to meet you too.
Thank you very much. I'll make it quick.
Sure.
I think when we're going back to the question of should Kyle be on the hot seat? Personally, I think he shouldn't even be in the seat. I think he should have been fired after the Super Bowl loss. I think when you come back from two instances of being able to bring it home against the same team and you're unable to overcome your own flaws so much so that you let them have the ball last in the Super Bowl in overtime, I think that's a little bit drastic of a decision to let slide for the whole team, for the whole culture. I think it sets a deflating tone for the rest of the organization, for the players involved. Personally, I always look at the comparison between Andy Reid and Kyle, and at least Andy was able to get the job done at some point. But when you look at Kyle, it's just like, what it's like what have you done for me lately? It's like it seems like every year there's always something that just consistently makes it worse. And I feel like when we talk, like on the other streams, you've always talked about how there's always like somebody that offsets Kyle's attitude, like D'Amico Ryans' his passion, Steve Wilkes a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Who has that? Who is that person right now for this team? Now
he's not employed.
Exactly, he's not employed. And personally, I'm looking at this team and I'm looking at the culture of the team. I'm kind of looking at him as a sole, like as the common denominator for being all of the issues. I think when people say, "Oh, but who else would we have that's better?" Sometimes it's not about who's necessarily outright better now. It's about a person that can bring you to a better place later. And I think it's like sometimes taking a shot at somebody that might be new, or let's say at first, like Ben Johnson, for example, we keep mentioning him. Just taking that chance on somebody that either is proven elsewhere or somebody that's entirely new. You never know. I think Brock Purdy initially was a surprise for most people. You never expected last pick in the draft, and he turns out to be a pretty decent quarterback. Franchise quarterback, that's a different topic, but a decent quarterback nonetheless. Who's to say that you can't find a talent somewhere, a more flexible talent in terms of attitude and offensive schemes somewhere else that can bring you into a different place? I think really the big issue with the 49ers is the attitude and the culture around it. And the fact that Kyle is enabling it says a lot. And I think the franchise allowing that says a lot.
I agree. So I don't know. I think they're fully telling themselves that everything's going to be okay this year. But if he has another down year and he's erratic, I wonder what the York family would do. Andy, good call.
Thank you very much, man. Have a great day.
All right, man. Take care. Guys, I got to run. Thanks so much for calling in. Again, download the Sleeper app today. Use promo code Cohn, COHN, and get this signed George Kittle jersey right there. Thanks for calling in again. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care.